Carrie, let me ask you the very first question. I have recently purchased a practice, and like yours was, the practice is a fixer-upper. I feel a bit overwhelmed. There is so much to do. Where do you want me to start?
Great question. And I would encourage you to start exactly where we did. Even though that was '07 when Paul and I purchased Life Smiles, I'd encourage you to start exactly where we did. Let me tell you what that is. 6 digital photos for patient education. The backstory here is that when Paul and I purchased that practice, it was a turnkey transition. The previous dentist walked out on a Friday, and Paul and I walked in on Monday morning. Here we go. And over the weekend, after the practice transaction closed, meaning that the money got transferred from our bank to the seller's bank, we now own the practice. And so we spent the entire weekend trying to figure out what in the world we're going to do the next week because it's now ours. Practice had 0 technology. None. We had 1 computer at the front desk, nothing. And so I said, Paul, let's pull, and it had paper charts. So I said, let's pull the charts. Let's look at the patients you're going to see. Let's try to, over the weekend, look at the entire week ahead of us. But let's plan it one day at a time. And let's really do our homework. And so sure enough, we're pulling charts. Paul's looking at the unscheduled treatment. He's trying to understand more about his patients. And here we are, getting started. And I said, Paul, let's go down to Best Buy and let's buy a laptop computer. Now, again, this is '07, so you have to go to the technology. Let's buy a laptop computer and let's buy a digital camera and take photos of our patient. We'll follow Dr. Frank Spear, his guidance on 6 digital photos for patient education. And let's have you put the laptop on your lap, pull the photos up, and show the patient what's going on with their mouth. And he said, yeah, it's a great idea. So we literally did that. Went down to Best Buy. We bought a laptop. We bought a digital camera. Paul took the photos himself, the 6 digital photos. And we thought that'd be a great way for these patients to get to know Dr. Paul, but also kind of to see what's going on in their mouth because they're now meeting a new doctor. And that's exactly where I would start. Now, today I wouldn't do it on a laptop. I would buy a dental digital camera, and I would buy an iPad and put it on the iPad. I buy the iPad Pro, the largest iPad that you can have. That way it becomes an interactive experience when the patient's looking at the photos. So we take the photos, we upload them to the iPad Pro, we hand the tablet to the patient, and then you do something very theatric. You make an excuse to leave the room. So you or your dental assistant can say, George, here's those photos we took earlier of you. Remember when I took those photos earlier of you today? I've loaded them here on this tablet so you can look at those. And it works just like your smartphone. If you want to see the next photo, just take your finger and flick it. If you want to zoom in and look at it in more detail, take your fingers and kind of pinch just like you would with your phone. Now, doctor and I need to look at your digital x-rays. So while you're looking at the photos, make a mental note of any questions you have. And when doctor and I come back in the room, we'll be happy to answer any questions you have. So doctor, that's where I would start. And the reason I would start there because of all the things that you could do to increase case acceptance in your practice. These digital photos do an incredible job of helping your patients take a greater interest in their mouth. So that's where we started. And that's where I'd encourage you to start. Hey, thanks so much for watching this video. The full podcast episode link is in the link below. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button if you like our content.